I'm of course Showside VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome and welcome to your weekly dose of Tuna Cup action. This is a weekly open tournament here that we host on the Cranky Ducklings, and we are jumping right into our first series of the night. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg. It is Zergtanis. Oh my god, wait, what? Going for double gases. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran. Usually he's a Zerg player, but now he's a Terran representing the Platinum Heroes from the land of the UK. It is Eva. Eva. Shaking my head. But yes, we're here in the earlier rounds. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is live, the bracket is stacked, and the bracket, as always, is full of brotos, as it should be, papi. Smooch. So for the early rounds, I did decide to jump onto some of the other races to be represented in the bracket. We'll be getting to the PvPs momentarily. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Until then, I do want to try to feature some of the Terran and Zerg out there in the bracket while I can. And we do have a TvZ before us, but not the one that you would expect. Again, Eba does often off-race whenever he can, and we'll see how Zergtanis will approach this in the end. If you're in the chats, by the way, you know what time it is. It's time to get your gamba going. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you believe will take the series. Eba is, of course, one of the more favorites to have a deeper run in the tournament, but Eba is playing Terran. Likewise, his opponent is more of an amateur player, but is playing against the off-race of Eba. So I do want to believe we can pull this off. For the time being, we are going for a natural basis. It was an earlier gas and earlier spawning pool from Zergtanis, going into faster link speed, I imagine. It was an interesting opener to kick things off, and because of this, it tells me that hatchery is going to be far later. Eba will SCV scout, Eba will confirm. We'll get eyes on the later expansion. We'll dip in, we'll get eyes on the faster tech. I say faster tech, the faster gas, faster spawning pool as well. Right now, all Eba is trying to do is make sure there's no second gas and there's no roach warren. So he's just making sure there's no crazy roach warren or bailing speed or bailing nest timing even. Link speed now on the way, and Zergtanis does actually decide to stay in gas. Interesting. Does stay in gas. Usually you would not stay in gas unless you mean to make use of it. I'm referring to something crazy like a fast roach warren, Baneliness, lair. There are options here for Zergtanis. Oh, Lings are being shut down. The Reaper has arrived. There's no queen. Oh, and no queen on the way. And early on here with our initial units, Zergtanis is in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. Without the queen, this Reaper has free reign. Does take a lot of damage, that is true, but can dip away, can regenerate HP, and can dip back in. We can see 6 more Lings on the way, so it looks like Zergtanis is planning to Ling Flood behind this. But back at home, Eba is already working towards his Hellion production. Once the first wave of Hellions arrive, I don't see Eba being in too much trouble here. Eba even throwing down the bunker at the third base, still hiding with those Reapers. The Reaper even, another Ling is going to fall. 2 Lings left. Has 2 Lings remaining, and again, Eba, as long as he has control, oh god, is otherwise distracted. The Reaper does go down, Eba distracted, rallying his Marines across the map. So, a fortunate moment here for Zergtanis. Meanwhile, link speed is finishing. He's link flooding. Zergtanis, he's just link flooding across the map. It's going to be all or nothing here. One way or another, the game should end. The bunker is going to be salvaged. Oh, just in time. Bunker salvaged, and we should be rallying across the map. Speaking of, the Marines are exposed. Marines are out in the open. They can get surrounded, assuming Zergtanis pulls the trigger. But he's keeping the Lings back at home, which means these Marines, they will actually make it back. They will make it back to the safety of the natural. Hellions are amassing as we speak, and as time goes on, I'm not as confident here in this Ling Flood as we go for a Roach follow-up here. Interesting. Zergtanis, he throws down the Roach Warren, takes the second gas, guys, and now we see what the gas is meant to be for, and now he pulls the trigger with the boys, with the Lings, and can he get us around on these Hellions? Eba, does he pull away in time? Oh, does take some extra hits, does have a bit of a more delayed reaction. 1 Hellion goes down, there's 3 Hellions left. Ooh, but the choke point is brutal. Yeah, Lings, they hit the natural instead. Hellion so far, so good. I mean, yeah, really good position here on top of the ramp. The Hellions, they roast up the Lings. And the Lings, they can't really do much here. Again, they're able to kite back. Plenty of Marines here on the high ground as well. Lings, they do get some SCV kills, but there's only 4 SCVs for how many Lings? I'm afraid to check. I'm afraid to look. It is going to be, 35 Lings for 4 SCVs and a Reaper. I guess alongside 2 Hellions. And now Zergtanis is vulnerable to a counterattack. Now it's time for Eba to move out. We have Hellions, we have a handful of Marines, we have the Medevac, we have an armory finishing up as well for some Hellbats. And with a low queen count, I mean, with a handful of roaches, that maybe Zergtanis could pull a defense, but it's going to be a very tough fight here for the Zerg player. The Hellbats have arrived. They can be healed up by the Medevac. Roaches are falling one after the other, and we just cannot sustain ourselves. Not against this kind of army. Eba is pushing into the natural, and he's snowballing out of control. Again, the earlier Ling Flood needed to get more done. Alas, it didn't. And with that, Eba has snowballed out of control. Boys are being pulled. There's 1 queen left in the main. And Eba is going to overwhelm. Takes down every single worker. Waddles into the main base as well. We're down to a handful. We're down to 6 drones. The final queen is going to be targeted. GG gets called. And Eba will take game number 1. GG. Eba will take a lead in the series. After this initial best of 3, we'll go over the bracket. We'll head on over to the bracket. We'll catch up on everything that's been going on. We'll get there. We will get there. For now, though, just embracing our initial series. Our initial matchup. And we'll see where this takes us. For now, I'm pretty sure Eba is going to commit to rolling Terran. Meanwhile, I shouted to... I shouted to Quinton soon in the chat. God, Papi God. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 4 months. Thank you. Thank you. Do appreciate the support. Do appreciate, yeah, the support that we get here on the channel. It's thanks to your support that we're able to host events like this, like Sparkling Tuna Cup, the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, Sea Duckling Open, Mashless One Open as well. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, whenever there's a, soon TM screen as well, we have our list of patrons as well. It's thanks to our subscribers and patrons that, again, we're able to fund these events, to host them. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoy the casting, hope you enjoy the content as we're getting into game 2. Getting into that second game. Gonna be on a Ghost River, a much smaller map this time, and a lot more potential for aggression from both sides. I'm curious how our players will approach this. Likewise, I wasn't opposed to Zergtanis going for a more aggressive opener, but as we saw in the previous game, it did leave a lot to be desired there. With the late queen, meant extra workers were going down. Likewise, the excess gas early on, it was a little bit inefficient is what I'm getting at, but we'll see. See how he does adjust. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Ghost River, we have our red Zerg player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back, see if he can pull off an upset. It is Zergtanis. Once again, going for the gas tricks. Interesting. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player from the land of the UK, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Eba. Let's go. Here we go. As we are going to be settling in. I thought it was random. For those that are curious, Zergtanis is playing Zerg and Eba is playing Terran. Eba is not playing random. Do apologize. But I will fix that up outside of game. Otherwise, we do have the same build of choice from Zergtanis. It was a double extractor trick into gas pool. Again, not the most efficient opener, did make excess overlords as well, so is getting into a similar early game state. And once again, I do have to be worried for Zergtanis because he makes that extra overlord as well. Because of this kind of opener, does mean that the natural is going to be delayed. Likewise, the queen is going to be delayed as well. We'll see what we're going to be able to work with when dealing with the initial units. We can see though, Eba is actually skipping the Reaper. Interesting. Going for an SCV scout and going for a reactor first before any kind of unit. Now, this does mean that even though Zergtanis won't have a queen early on, as you can see here, the queen is delayed. Even though there's no queen, Zergtanis won't be punished for it. So a bit of a more fortunate start here for Zergtanis. Can more freely kind of get into his own build and get into his own playstyle. Is now taking his third. Ooh, rushing into a lair, skipping link speed. The downside with what's going on, I mean, I appreciate the ingenuity here, but Eba scouted everything with the SCV. SCV did confirm lack of researching spawning pool and the lair that's on the way. Eba saw everything. And what exactly is the plan going to be here? We're taking a fast second gas geyser. This could be for, okay, I was going to say this could be for, like, I don't know, like a fast roach one into fast roach speed, or like into a Nidus based all in, into drop lord play. The Bailey Nest is throwing me off a little bit. You typically don't need this many gases if you're going into Ling Bane this early on. So an interesting choice here. There's no Overlord in position for Dropper Lords either. You can see that Eba is looking and hunting for Overlords as well. So in case it was Dropper Lord or Nidus play, then the Overlords would be denied. We can see that there are no Overlords though, so I still am not fully aware of what's going on. Now we get into late Ling speed, but again, then what was the fast lair for? So again, mixed signals here by Zergtanis. The fast lair also means delayed queens, which means delayed injects, delayed larva. But I guess the plan overall is to get into Ling Bane and maybe just fast bailing speed, question mark? I guess. Yep, there it is. Bailing speed is on the way. Now the downside here is the economy is quite lacking for Zergtanis, so back at home Eba is just comfortably getting to a 3 racks. It's going into a 3x aggression, is going for a stim timing. This is going to hit quite hard, it's going to hit quite fast, and numbers wise Zergtanis isn't going to have a lot to work with, unfortunately. Doesn't really have the economy to sustain like proper army production, bearing in mind that Ling Bane is quite larva intensive as well, so injects and queens are that much more important when playing Ling Bane, just because you need as much larva as you can get. The upgrades are going to be finishing, that is true, and there is going to be bailing speed for the first wave of aggression, which will help, but at the same time, the amount of Ling Bane is what I'm concerned about. If the Ling Bane count is just too low, then Eba can spread, can split, and can micro his heart out. Eba is one of those players that I do kind of favor in that kind of scenario, is known for his, higher APM, is known for his control. Third CC is on the way, Stim is almost done, and the move out is upon us. Eba, he's pushing out across the map. This is going to be how many Marines? We're going to be 24 Marines, Stim, and combat shields. Oh boy. And what is it to defend? 1-1 is on the way. These upgrades will not come into play for the main fight. Zergtanis to drone up to 30. He is massing up some Ling Bane. Does have those Banelings. If he can somehow lock down this army and engage with the Banelings, then maybe he can pull off a defense. But even then, there's just so many Marines, and really we're relying on Eba not being able to control. Does them back, nice target firing. Does target down one of the Banelings, there's 5 Banelings left. Up, down to 3, down to 2, down to 1, down to 0. And even off of, forced to fight off of creep, no creep here because there are no tumors, because there were no queens. And with that, the Bio Army is gonna stim and win at this point. There is just nothing to defend. Yeah, the queens for the Lynx as well. There's just not enough to work with. Boys are being pulled, and Eba is looking to take the series. Again, it was an interesting build, is what I will say, but GG gets called, and Eba takes the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Eba as he does advance on into next round. But a special shout out to Zergtanis, because again, Zergtanis, I believe he did sign up in the hopes of facing off against Bjorn. Unfortunately, this week Bjorn wasn't here, so it feels a little bit bad, man, that there was no Bjorn to face off against. But the next best thing, basically Bjorn, like English Bjorn, was able to face off against Eba. And it's one of those things where we always champion these more lower tier or amateur players competing in these tournaments. I used to do the very same thing back when I was platinum into diamond. Would play in Alima League week after week, would get just destroyed by Innovation and Ryung and Keen on a weekly basis. A lot of fun being a part of the community, being part of the scene, and much love here to Zergtanis for taking part. Did go down to Eba, and again there was a bit of a skill gap, but much respect nonetheless for competing. GG, well played. Oh. And with that, we can take a moment here to have a